Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Denim. As a business owner myself, I personally know the importance of financial stability and preserving cash flow to help navigate through any freight market. With Denim's comprehensive service offering, you now have an all-in-one financial partner whose platform includes factoring, payments, freight audit, document collection management, and analytics, which help keep your business financially healthy and increase your team's time to focus on revenue-producing activities. You can also take advantage of Denim's free credit check, which they perform on all of your customers. And Denim will proactively reach out to you if they spot any signs of credit deterioration. Finally, Denim always pays your carriers first. As a broker, this is imperative to preserving your credit score in the market, which ultimately helps you become a broker of choice to your carrier partners. Are you ready to learn more? Visit denim.com to schedule a demo today. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you.
This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you.
I think that it's more people are just looking for that quick close than anything. They're looking to kind of get in and, well, maybe, if you just give me one opportunity, with all due respect to all my prospects, I'm not saying I don't want an opportunity to move their freight, but I don't just want a load from you, right. I want to work with you for the long term because I try and say this often, man, this isn't a hobby to me, right? I'm not here, I didn't start a business for the sake of starting a business, right. I'm doing this to build the best freight brokerage in North American history. I'm doing this to put information out there to help elevate the industry as a whole, because what I talk about on this show, I don't do it opposite behind closed doors, this is
right.
Literally what I do every day, because I'm a firm believer, Sean, that if we put out best practices in mass, we're going to elevate the industry. Customers are going to look at freight brokers differently. They're going to be able to sniff out the bad actors sooner. So when you're calling people, you're not going to be regulated to a one-shot opportunity. And I think so many more and more sales reps need to understand your value is way higher than what can I do for you on a short-term basis. You'll never be able to get in and truly understand a customer's book and what they can bring or what you can do to actually help them, unless you're going to move 25, 50, 100 shipments sometimes before the real identifiers start to come to the surface.
No, I agree. And it's getting people to understand that. I think we've had a shift in the last month for the rest of this year that I want more revivals than new freight. I don't want to see the new customer count continue to scale because we're not adding value anywhere for most of them. We've landed some really great business this year from a new perspective, but it's just slow down, pump the brakes. And again, it's back to kind of what you and I were discussing earlier. It's young people that are out on the floor that they've got to learn time management, but then they see the metrics that's there and they want to hit the metric and then that's it. And we've got to get them to understand that, hey, it's not just about hitting the metric and landing the 3 new customers every month or whatever we require you to land, but maybe slow your roll and try to grow the relationships and understand what they need instead of just, hey, I landed these 3 and I forget about them and go on to the next 3 because I know for a fact that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So now we're pushing this whole revive everyone. I've got so many revivals that we need to hit up this year, and we're putting contests out every week and just trying to refocus the train of thought a little bit. So
I think like what some people need to realize, Sean, is not all business is good business at the end of the day.
I
And
know, I know.
and if you get out there and just adding somebody for the sake of adding somebody, like I look at it like this. I equate this a lot to dating or marriage. How many of you guys married your spouse after the very first date? Within 30 seconds, you're like, boom, let's get married. We're in a committed relationship now. It's the exact same philosophy and approach in sales and business development. If somebody is willing like I would say I have the best pitch in all of freight brokerage, right? My pitch, it's easily the best out there. But I'm not that good, you know? But I would expect you and everybody who I have on this show to have that same sentiment. But it's like, it's like, man, I don't. It's such a red flag if somebody within 30 seconds of hearing my name is like, yeah, send me all your information. We'll get you set up and let you bid on our freight. Oh, shoot. Okay. Like I'm good, but I'm not.
There's something strange about that one.
Yeah. And especially if you compare to, like use that data set, the amount of customers who onboard you, and then what do they grow into fruition from that 30-second pitch, or take that data and compare that to somebody who you maybe had to prospect for 6 months. And then it took you another 6 months to get up to where you've built up some consistency inside of their business, and then see which one is going to be there in 5 years.
Yeah, no, I have an outside sales rep that comes and speaks to me like once a month. And I remember him saying, man, I've got this going and this going and this going, and we've had great meetings and we're moving a little load here and there and nothing too major. And I'm like, just be patient, just sit back, feed them information, industry information that you learn or you see that you feel would be beneficial to their business. And then, just wait, and they're going to come to you with a project or a problem and how you can resolve it. And he was so stressed out about it because he had not been in the logistics industry. He sold insurance before that. And then, now he's been here just over a year, and we had lunch 2 weeks ago, and he's like, man, you were right. He's like, I'm not patient, but I'm killing it now. And I just had my first $100,000 month. And he's like, I love it. And I actually feel like I'm adding value because we're doing the things that others don't want to do, and I'm just like, well, that's what's going to build up your, what do you call it? It's like, I can't remember, somebody used a very good term for like building up your own like image with that customer,
Yeah.
You build your stock value with that customer to where when they need you, they're going to come and talk to you first over anyone else. And now every person that he's ever spoken to is just, they come to him right away. We know you can handle it, just take care of it for us. So you got to be patient. You got to add value. You don't, there is the small group out there. We have 32 new hires this month or something. I know that they're all going to jump the gun as soon as they get cut loose on sales, and they're going to try to reach out right away and get that quick win. And, it's just part of the freight brokerage world, but you'll find out quickly that the quick wins are also the quick losers. And then the long-term wins will stick with you long-term. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've got customers still that, the first customer I ever landed in 2003 runs with me today still. Every customer I've ever moved freight with still runs for me today. And 3 of them are in my top 5.
Man, that's awesome.
And that's after a 2-year non-solicit.
Yeah.
I remember one of them calling me and saying, hey, Sean, guess what today is? I was like, what's that? It's October 17th. I was like, okay. She's like, you're 2 days past your non-solicit. Be here tomorrow. I was like, are you serious? Yeah, be here tomorrow. Booked a ticket, flew out east, and now I'm the only broker that runs their freight.
Dude, I love that, man.
I love that stuff, man. I know it's, again, you've got to get to know the people though. You've got to take your time, understand themselves, understand their personal lives. I know everything about every customer that I work with, family life, sports, and I try to teach it, I just, it just takes time though. It's hard to teach, but I love it. That's the best part of it.
lights, spark from the heart and it shines so bright. Yeah, let the whole world know. Let's go, let's go, let's
From our perspective, we're kind of I'm doing a combination of like everything right now, right? So it's like I have, because I'm breaking down my day because like we're in the complete building phase of this. I mean, this, we talk all the time, but like, we're in the complete building phase of this. We don't have we don't have much dedicated freight at all. Like we're getting there, but so it's like I'm kind of breaking it up into a three-pronged approach where like me and my business partner are, like I'm sending out 50 emails every single day. I'm making 20 phone calls every single day, and I'm trying to set up multiple site visits a week, because I believe in that face-to-face as well, because I just think that at the end of the day, no one will ever understand how much your business can mean to somebody until you're like sitting there and looking them in the eye, like you said. And I think that it just delivers a different level of commitment that most people aren't willing to do, especially from the brokerage space, man. Most brokers want to sit back. They want to send DMs on LinkedIn. They want to send emails, maybe make a couple of calls, and that's it. They don't want to get out there and show face, where I do the opposite, man. I want to show face. I want to do cold call the site visit, or I'm going to set it up to where because again, when you're bootstrapping a business, as finances become available in the budget, where it's going to be, hey, I'm going to fly to Las Vegas. I'm going to spend 48 hours. I'm going to set up 6 site visits. I'm going to go shake hands. Now I'm going to fly to Salt Lake City and so on and so forth. So as the budget, as we make that, up and we can add that, travel expense in, that's exactly what we're going to do. But, we're going to own our backyard in the meantime. My business partner's in Minneapolis. I'm here in Phoenix. We're just out there trying to add as many site visits as we possibly can. And I think that that's just a way that a lot of people need to focus on. It's not going to come from lead generation software, right? Like there's not going to be some AI email that is going to all of a sudden land all of this business out there. I think that what a lot of people need to focus in on is it's like, all right, step back and assess, what can you do inside of your business? What can you afford? And I'm positioning this, you guys, for Chris, because Chris and his, like, they bootstrapped this shit. All right. There wasn't a large investor who's like, all right, Chris, you got 100 mil, go out there and do like this is all dollar in, dollar out for you, and it's like, and I'm at that position where it's like, we're building everything up step by step here. And that's the reality for a lot of people, though. They might not have the travel budget to go out there and do that, but look at the route you're driving. I'm constantly have my head on a swivel when I'm driving around in Phoenix here, because I'm like, all right, boom, these guys have loading docks. I'm going to go stop in there. I'm going to write their name down. I'm going to try and set that up. And, again, if you can't afford a flight in a hotel, you can afford a tank of gas. You're already paying for it.
I love what you said. You said, own your backyard. And I wish I would have learned this 10 years ago. I'm glad I know it now, but your business, your personal brand and your company's brand has value, especially in the communities that you are operating in. It's your job to share the message, right? It's our job as leaders and founders to make sure that people are cognizant of who we are and what we do. But we are very philanthropic, and we give back to a lot of charitable organizations. We try not to miss any dinners or galas, and it has done great things for us. I think if you're a founder listening to this and you're still relatively, if you're in startup or go mode, the best thing you can do is invest in people in your backyard.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that, man. I think it's the most cost-effective option for you when it comes to, your customer acquisition, and that because that is an expense on your P&L, your customer acquisition cost, your CAC. I mean, that's massive, especially early on. And I think that so many people get into business and they don't have a strategy. They don't have a plan. Their strategy is, like, I'm just going to go find freight on the load board, or, oh, I'm just going to go try and find another broker and see if there's because the co-broker thing is just out of control right now. But like, that's kind of their whole thing. And, I just want people to understand that it's like, hey, we got to go out there. We got to get resourceful for what you have. And I will rely on, I pay for lead generation software right now, right? I use a company called Seamless. I'm not associated or affiliated with them. I actually pay them every single year to use their product. But like, if you don't have it, Google And an Excel spreadsheet is an extremely effective tool to start tracking and building your lead list off of.
Absolutely. I mean, that's those are fundamental tools like from day one that you can use. It's really all about how you design and organize yourself as a salesperson, in my opinion. I mean, you can use the coolest, niftiest, shiniest tools and technology out there, but you know, if you don't have the meat and potatoes, if the foundation isn't there for how do you prospect, okay? I think the one thing that I want people to take away from this, and I will always share this, you got to figure out what your ICP is. And if you're out here just spraying and praying, you know, hoping to God that every, you know, one out of every 50 people is going to pick up the phone that day, you know, it's a hell of a lot easier for me to be an expert in like 3 different subjects or 3 different commodities or products, because you know, when I'm talking to packaging customers and I'm talking about JIT and I'm talking about people doing large runs and 24/7 and dropping trailers, and like that's a much different conversation than me just calling in saying, hey, I want to ship your freight. It's like, no, I've already been there and done that. I know what you do. How can I help you?
Spark from the heart and it shines so bright. Yeah, let the whole world know. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Based around kind of like what we're talking about, right? Like opportunities are slim out there right now, and people aren't taking on any new providers. What is a value add that I can do to kind of stay top of mind to some of my prospects in the event that they do need to reach out?
I think, you know, like let's use this as an example, right? If you're sending out a solicitation, it's not just a matter of, you know, what I typically see, which is, you're on my call list and I'd like to get on your calendar. Can we schedule a meeting? Here's click on this link and you'll see all my open time slots, right? Just let me know at your earliest convenience when you want to meet and let's talk. Versus, hey, I know, you know, your product, and I know that this is in demand at this moment. You know, the port situation is doing this, and you know, I think I can help you out in these specific areas. So just being more deliberate, more specific about what you're offering. Like I said, when it comes to those different situations, I'm looking for intel on what's happening. And so if you have anything unique to share, or even if it's an article that you read from a third-party site that you thought was particularly relevant, just say, hey, here's something interesting that I read that you may find interesting. Like, check this out, right? So I think that's one way to just show that you're taking 1 or 2 more steps than your average Joe. And that may draw some additional attention.
What is kind of a good way to separate yourself in that prospecting style phase, right? Where maybe you haven't replied to them yet, right? And you get, I could only imagine how many emails you get in a day if they find out what your email is, you know, soliciting your business. But, you know, as somebody who cold calls, like we get that, you know, you're the 15th person who called me today or this week or something like that. So it's like, ultimately, I don't go in there, and this is kind of more me, but I see this question a lot. Like I'm going through the work. I think I'm saying the right things, but like, how do you kind of not even necessarily get their attention to get freight today, but like to stay on their radar, to kind of be like, hey, these guys are different.
Like I said, I think it's offering some tidbit of intel, whether it's market related, whether it's demonstrating at least a surface level understanding of the prospect's business, like showing that you've done some due diligence. There's always a ton of information on shippers' websites, maybe in the types of loads that they're posting. You know, even though it's not explicitly saying who the shipper is, you know, the origin point, the destination point, so you can kind of make some educated guesses on what those are. So there's just a lot of ways to leverage the internet and what's available, like in the public forum, to, like I said, demonstrate that you're researching that organization, that you're researching their business, their industry, and that you're just kind of demonstrating that I'm a general understanding of what it is that you specifically need. So, for example, you know, you get a solicitation that's like, okay, I need hey, I've got a bunch of reefers that I can send you. Well, I don't need reefers. I need dry vans because whatever the case may be, or like, do extra legwork, because I don't want to have to go looking through these emails and saying, well, 95% of what you're saying is not relevant to me. and you're expecting me to go read through that and find the 5% that is relevant to me, send me that email that's 95% relevant to me, and then I'll start noticing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's a really good point, right? Your outreach is everything. And, I've also found a lot of success when we go in there and we're not asking, because like we get like one of the big things that we get on the phone is, are you guys just trying to get set up with us? And I always kind of push back in that moment. I'm like, well, possibly. I'm like, this is what we do. I'm just trying to see if there's really an opportunity there. And, obviously you go to their website, you find out like, hey, these guys have, construction equipment, or these guys manufacture food, whatever it is. So it's not me going in there to just try and do that. But I think more people need to have more of a plan when you're calling, right? Like if they're a food manufacturer in the Midwest, you probably shouldn't be talking about how you can go only out to California or something like that. Like, what area do you specialize in? Is that something that you would recommend? Because I got this question the other day, because they only do food, but they're like, I'm getting a lot of pushback on when I reach out to them. Do you think that they should maybe be more regionally focused? Like if they're a smaller organization, right? Maybe their geographic footprint is only in the state of Wisconsin. Do you think that there's a higher probability that they probably only ship within, that region possibly? Or is there another thing that somebody could possibly say to go in there to talk about, to kind of get them to open up a little bit more, to make them like, hey, we're not just a run of the mill. We'll do anything and everything that you possibly have.
I think being more specific and specialized is actually key, because let's just say, use Wisconsin and just say, look, I'm a smaller organization. I have limited bandwidth. I can't be everything to everyone, but I can be the expert in this specific region, and I will dominate this region. And that includes beating some of the big name brokers out there, because they're not particularly specialized. If you think about, like most businesses, forget just transportation, but just businesses in general, if you're a smaller organization, it could be all about a niche, right? It could be, I'm the reefer guy, I'm the flatbed guy, or it could be geographic specific. It could be, I am the Wisconsin guy. You will not find a broker that's got more capacity and better rates, because I've got so much density in this market. I create a lot of utility with the capacity that I do have. And so if I were starting a brokerage, I would be and I had limited resources, I would be hyper focused at being the best at one particular thing.
As always, if you guys got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network, because if you see value, your network's going to see value again. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.